Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for watching another video. So in August, my cat Murphy passed away, and I've been struggling since then to figure out, number one, if I should post this video, and number two, if I do decide to post it, what would be a good time to post it because it's such an awkward subject. So I decided on the last Sunday of the year because she passed away on a Sunday, and I decided to post this video because this channel really is about all of the things that I encounter throughout the year, and I felt like I wouldn't be very honest with you if I didn't post this video, and I also wanted to pay tribute to my cat Murphy. So I adopted her when she was a kitten from the Humane Society in Hawaii, stuffed her in a box, flew her from Hawaii all the way to here, and she's been with me since the first YouTube video I've ever posted, and she makes some guest appearances in some of the videos. If you go back and see some of them, she's in there. And ultimately, I felt like this was the best way to pay tribute to her is by posting this video. And I figured the best way to honor her memory is to post this video and help out anybody that's going through the same thing. Maybe they have a pet that just passed away or even a loved one, because it is hard and it is difficult and it takes a really long time to get over. In fact, you really never get over it. You just find better ways of dealing with it throughout your life. All right, so if you're dealing with the passing of a pet and maybe you're feeling kind of like, well, I feel a little bit silly that I'm grieving so hard because my hamster passed away, or maybe somebody else is telling you, don't worry, it was a pet mouse, you'll just get another one. That's not what's important. What's important is the deepness and the connection and that relationship that you had with that pet. I don't care if it was a goldfish, a bird, a snake, cat, or dog. It's the closeness that you shared with that pet. That's what's important. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because they're not ever going to know about those tender moments that you have alone with that pet. You know, like when you wake up in the morning and they're sleeping next to you, or they decide to sit on your lap. It's all of those close moments that other people don't get to see. And when that relationship with the pet is severed, that anchor that you once had is gone, and it's kind of like you're floating around and you're lost and you're trying to find someplace else to anchor so you can kind of get on with having a normal life again. And that's gonna take a while. So please don't let anybody tell you that, it's silly that you feel that way about your pet. If that tie is there and that emotional bond is separated, you have every right to grieve just like you would with a person. So the next thing is to identify what is this grossness that we're feeling, right? The sadness, the emptiness, the loneliness, the depression. It's grieving, right? So what is this grieving process? How do we handle this thing? The first thing we got to do is kind of identify what it is. And the best explanation I can come up with is, it's just the price you pay for loving a pet or a loved one. And it is indeed a heavy price that we pay for loving a person or a pet so unconditionally, so hard. And strangely enough, though, we should feel very fortunate and very proud that we get to carry this burden for the rest of our lives, because it truly shows that you can show love and compassion in your life. All right, now that we know what it is, this grieving process, how do we handle all of these high-powered emotions that are swirling in our head? All right, the first thing is you got to have them stop swirling in your head. You have to put them somewhere mentally in your mind. So what some people do is they think of a box, and every single memory that they have or anything that hurts, they put into the box. Now, essentially what you're doing by putting all these memories and feelings into the box is you're organizing your sadness. You get to decide what you want to deal with when you want to deal with it. It avoids you having this whirlwind of emotions kind of floating around and attacking you all at the same time in those moments when you're alone and you're sad and you're depressed. You contain it in this box and you just peek open the lid when you want to deal with whatever it is you want to deal with. Now, everybody's going to deal with this box a little bit differently. Some people are going to grab all the emotions, put them in a box and just suppress it and never deal with it. And then one day, boom, the lid blows off and it just all comes out at one time. Now, in all honesty, I can't say that that's a horrible way of dealing with emotions. That's just the way some people are going to handle it. But just remember, you take it at your own pace. Now, for me personally, I don't use the image of a box in my mind. What I do is use a picture of a knife. Here's why. All right, and just for liability purposes here on YouTube, I am not literally physically bumping into this knife. I'm doing it mentally and emotionally. So essentially what I'm doing is the same thing as the box example, but instead of putting all of my emotions and the things that hurt, instead of putting them into a box, I'm putting them into this knife edge. So you can see that this is very sharp. So these would be things that are still very fresh. And then when I think about them, I think about rubbing into them and they cut deep and they hurt. That's how I know that I'm not over something, because what the goal is to do is to have all these memories in here. You get it to a point where you think about it and you rub into it, but you've done it so often that it dulls, so that those emotions and those memories no longer look like this, but instead they look like this. Now this is still a knife and it can still cut, but it's not as sharp and it doesn't hurt as much. And that's what we're trying to do. All of those emotions that hurt real deeply, we're not trying to forget, we're just trying to dull it so we can get on with our lives. Here's a great example. When I dropped Murphy off at the last time at the vet, I have this image of her eyes looking back over at her shoulder, looking at me. And that's the last time I physically saw her alive. And it's burned into my brain. I often ask myself, did I do the right thing by taking her to the vet? Should I have kept her home? And all of those things, they were like this, and they hurt like hell. But I knew I was ready to make this video because those emotions no longer are this sharp. They're a little bit duller like this. Some people's skin is going to be a lot harder and they're going to be able to ram against that knife edge even harder without bleeding. Some people like myself are relatively soft. When we run into it, it's going to bleed a lot. But the point is to keep rubbing up against that knife blade, keep confronting those emotions when you can, and then eventually it'll dull to a point where you can scrape up against it and you can get on with it. And guys, we got to get on with it. It's not that we're trying to forget that person by dulling that knife blade, but if you don't dull that knife blade, those emotions, if you don't confront them, you're never going to move on, and you can't do that. It's our job to keep going in memory of the people that have passed away. Guys, I hope this video has helped out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.